Her name is Candace Boudreaux, founder of Clash, Civil Liberation Against Systematic Holocaust. And I don't know how much time I have left. We are being hunted right now by the Ascended, people with the third eye, the new sight, and they are trying to kill all of us who are not evolved. Only they never say kill, do they? No. After all, they are heightened intellectuals. They want to control the population of the descended to protect societal integrity. But my husband is dead. I saw him do it. And they took my boy. Hell. Who am I kidding? He joined them. Wanted to be like them instead of me. And it's so much better to be ascended, isn't it? Whoever sees this needs to know the truth, and I am going to tell it while I still can. After the Third War, the final war of 2024, there were but a few humans left alive on Earth. Greed finally drove the powers that be to no return. Their lust for power and dominion blinded them to the simple truths of life, such as, if you destroy everything, what is left to rule? They thought they were omnipotent until they pressed that nuclear button. And then it all became clear. 3 nations annihilated, billions perished. And those mighty leaders of corporations and politics, yep, they died too. Right there in their underground fortresses of steel and concrete, surrounded by their hoarded food supplies of seeds with no way to grow them in contaminated soil. Our planet was ravished, burned, and broken. Many survived the initial detonations. Famine, disease, and noxious air rampantly claimed lives in the aftermath, until the world's population dwindled in the thousands. It took a century to see organic life emerge again, fields of grass to grow as our ancestors once knew. Humans could actually breathe unassisted by masks and machines. We as people were united. It didn't matter what our lineage was, what we looked like, who we thought we once were. Those who made it through the final war counted themselves to be revolutionaries. The ones that survived vowed to themselves and each other to start fresh, start anew. Man once again walks the slowly healing earth and will not be like the ones who nearly caused Earth's demise. Some of the inhabitants of this new world were genetically altered through nuclear exposure. Most developed mutations that would look at today as spiritual evolution. The pineal glands that were said to house the hypothetical third eye actually became physical. Now there is a small growth above the bridge of the nose that held a blinking eye. They were worshipped like gods because we didn't want to repeat the same mistakes that we had, vilifying differences. So they were gods. And 5 decades of regeneration, humans, as they once were, became the minority, like yours truly. And the ascended population grew to become the vast majority. Those who did not evolve eventually found themselves in the minority. Dr. Frank Lent, a brilliant man and one of the descended, although he didn't care to claim himself as such, he felt the scrutiny of the ascended every day and worked tirelessly to find a way to level the playing field between both the groups. He created these glasses. These glasses give us that new sight, enable us to basically see with our mind's eye what we ordinarily would not be available for us. Frank became a hero amongst us, the descended, and a criminal to the ascended who did not want to extend the same powers outside of themselves. They don't like any of us who can bring people together. Not when you're descended. But we are humans. Just like they are, and we deserve life. We deserve respect. We deserve to live. Frank Lent is going to help us and bring us together again. And I will do all that I can to protect him. My son Philip, he was named after my grandfather who survived the final war. Grandfather kept us all together and safe. He was good and he was kind. My son has the same beautiful eyes that he had. They used to be so bright, full of love. After his transformation, his eyes are still beautiful, but they're just cold and empty. It's like he doesn't know me anymore. The ascended, they are so evolved in the mind and in the body. It seems there's just nothing left for their souls. What are you doing, son? Wait. Stop it. Come on. Philip, I'm your mother. I am your mother.
I got her.
Hi, I'm Danielle Floyd, and thank you for watching my video interpretation of my working novel concept that I've just renamed Jenesis. Yep, I just came up with that one. It started off as an assignment, really, and I have to say I'm really getting into the writing, and I'm excited about actually turning this into a real work, sci-fi work. I will say that being in this class, taking this course, has been major in helping me to structure my story the way that I need to, and give it a little background and a little background and foreground and direction in putting it together and making sure that the characters work and the backstory works. So I will let you know exactly which concepts helped me out on this in this process. So, excuse me, I gotta access my notes here. My story is based off of the concept touched on this semester. Concepts of dystopia, nuclear holocaust, identity, which I will say was influenced by the short story that I read of Aye and Gomorrah, colonialism, and I would even say a soft basis of the Great Awakening. I would say the Great Awakening because it touches on the ideas of worship, but the story concept itself is rooted in the ideology of spirituality and science, not so much religion as a whole, but it definitely has a parallel there. Nuclear holocaust. Well, this story is actually taking place after the main event, if you will. I'm calling it the final war, because that's pretty much what obliterated everything, took the world populace down from billions to mere thousands. So the story, which is aptly a working dystopia, is taking place on the focused on the rebuilding of civilization, but what the characters initially focus on is not necessarily revisiting the same structure that was in place before. What I touched on in the video is just a very light rendering. I'd have to go way deep into it, which we wouldn't have the time here. But in the semester, one of the lectures talked about the decolonization and the mutual deterrence, which basically meant that nuclear war could be avoided if multiple powers have enough weapons to wipe each other off the face of the planet. So that concept, what I took from that concept is that was actually supposed to deter war. And the way that my novel started off is that was actually the basis for war, because my ideology is that sometimes, and I think it really, really resonates in today's political atmosphere, that common sense just isn't common. And ego is extremely present, and I think that we are kind of in for a major showstopper, if you will. And maybe it's just me being kind of dystopian minded, but I don't know. don't necessarily see a lot of I don't see a lot of democratic process. Nope, I don't see a lot of democratic process happening in our future. I think it's going to be the opposite. In my novel, North America, Eastern Europe, and Asia were the ones responsible for pressing the buttons. You can decide on whether that has any sort of factual basis or could have any factual basis. That's up to you. Colonization. So, the new colony that was established were pretty united until the mutation happened. Started to differentiate one from the other. And although they set about really trying hard not to follow the paths of old, using differences as a basis for discrimination, it kind of backfired on them when they started to basically worship those who underwent the mutation. And those mutated beings who are still human, still having the same human foundation, took that and ran with it and became power hungry. So, with any, history tells us, with any sense of colonization, what they want is power. What they seek is power. And what is power? The power is resources. And it's not that there are a lot of natural resources to be had, but in human nature, when you see something present itself to be greater than the other, the natural inclination, usually and unfortunately, is to dominate, to hold dominion over. That has definitely been our history of colonization in the world, and that's something that I implemented between the ascended and descended. The ascended being the more advanced beings hold dominion over the descended, and with that dominion comes abuse of power and so on and so on. So I think I covered all the bases that I wanted to talk about and correlate to the semester and how awesome it's been with learning new ideas. I've always considered myself to be a sci-fi fanatic. I kind of got it on as my mom and my dad both were like Trekkies and whatnot, but that was kind of very surface, I think this class definitely helped to deepen my thought process of how I consider sci-fi and, how I ingest a lot of ideas that I may come across with a lot of things. And of course, it gave me a chance to revisit The Empire Strikes Back again and, all the Star Wars movies, and who doesn't love that? So that's my favorite. So thank you. It's been awesome. I appreciate your time for checking it out, and take care.